NETGEAR N750 here, and this has an authentication bypass, which was posted in this blog post a few days ago, and all you have to do is go to this router address, BRSO2 Genie Help, and this one is much worse than an ordinary authentication bypass. If you go to the NETGEAR configuration panel, it asks me for username and password, which is what should happen, and I have another wired client here, and when I go there, the same thing happens, and here I have a wireless client, and as you can see, when I go there, same thing's going to happen. This is the way a router is supposed to be. You can't control it without giving the username and password. But if you go to that other URL, showing Genie Help, it tells me something about configuring a network connection, and when I click Next, I'm now the administrator. And it may take a minute to do it, but what's really terrible about this is this is not an administrator bypass. This is an administrator login destruction, because it's going to result in all of these machines being the administrator permanently. And we're going to see, yep, this one here is now the administrator. It says I could log out. I'm seeing these options. It's kind of slow, but now I'm logged in as the administrator, and if I log out, it says I've logged out, but if I go back, I'm just logged in again as the administrator, which it will load eventually. This firmware, I've noticed, is extremely slow to make the management pages. And the same thing happens wirelessly. If I just go back to 10.0.0.1 and reload it, I don't need a password anymore. I'm the administrator. So if you ever go to this URL once, nobody can be anything but the administrator over this router on the wired or wireless network, and there's no way to undo it except to restore it to factory defaults, reloading the firmware. So that's really serious, and this is not an old broken router either. This is a modern gigabit router, and I don't know how many NETGEARs are vulnerable. This is WNDR4300, but I think others are vulnerable too. That's it.